Welcome to episode 2 of my entrepreneurship journey. I want to have a discussion about something that people rarely like to talk about. It's very taboo, really, I feel like in all communities, but definitely it's something that people do not like to discuss, whether it's personal or business, and that is money. Money, money, money. I think if people would be more transparent with how money should work, various cash flows, your cash flow system, and how to have an effective cash flow, I think people would be well off. And I just wish I had that conversation or someone was transparent with me at the start of business. But however, you live and you learn. And if you want to be better, you do better and you research and you figure things out, right? But however, what I found as an entrepreneur and along this journey, this thing called entrepreneurship has been glamorized. People think just because you're an entrepreneur, you have all of this money. Granted, you may. But however, some people don't. And I wish I was in that category of people that had all this money. Now, that's not to say that my business doesn't make money. I know one of my businesses is 6 years old. I have two businesses. I have a balloon business, which is 6 years old. I have an event space, which is a year and a half old. Now, sometimes it just takes some businesses a little while to turn a profit, right? And I want to say it takes about, I know the IRS give you about 5 years to start seeing a profit on your tax return. So, and I'm only in a year and a half with this event space. Granted, I have not seen a profit yet. I have not seen a profit. And so that's the real about it. I haven't seen a profit. We've been in a business for a year and a half. My balloon business, I have seen a profit. And that's the thing with that, it's a home-based business. So the expenses and the overhead isn't as bad or isn't as much as a brick and mortar, which is my event space that, I have to pay rent for that. And then on top of all the other bills that comes along with, having a brick and mortar. But the thing is, you have to understand how to be a good steward over your income when you are getting it in. So like for me, the balloon business, I know the balloon business is really busy during the second quarter of the year. Not saying that we don't get sales throughout the year, but the second quarter, you can count on that to be like a heavy quarter because you got graduation, you have proms, you have all those celebratory things, bridal showers around that time. And so that's really a big season for us every year. And so, but I also know the months after that can be like dry season. Sometimes, we do get minimum sales there. So I know that the money from the graduation season, I need to kind of spread out to make sure I have to cover things that are happening in our down season. So the event space, same thing. This year, I saw a big influx during that graduation season. And then, right now we're kind of like in down season, and at the beginning of the year was a little slow, but I knew that I needed to put some of that money to the side to make sure I was able to cover other things. But in the beginning of the business, in the beginning of this here journey of, this second business, it's been rough because I've had to, make changes with my pricing because I had to do market research. I had to make sure my prices were feasible to cover my overhead, that I was competitive with, other event spaces or with my market. And so those are things that I had to really look at and consider, as far as me having to work with my prices. I have to consider, am I going to do a sale? Now, if I do a sale, what's my minimum that I can do a sale on? You know what I'm saying? So those are things I really had to look at when with this particular place. And so the other side of that, when you're talking about money, it can be very stressful. Stressful in that you don't know where the next sale is going to come from or when it's going to come. Knowing that you have this big rent to pay or you have these bills to pay, that could be very, very stressful. And I'm telling you, I know there's this thing going around on social media saying that being an entrepreneur makes you, it's a spiritual thing. And I have to agree with that, because it will make you get on your knees and start praying to the Lord so hard, asking, Lord, when is my next sale going to come? When you going to make a way for me? I need this done. I need to have this. I need to have that. And I can tell you, my relationship with the Lord has got a little bit stronger because of that, because it's like, he's giving you provision to do certain things, but he's giving you the vision, but where's the provision that I know that comes along with that vision? And sometimes, it's a little, you have to wait. It's a waiting game. You have to wait and see, and your faith is being tested. And so it can be stressful. It can be very stressful. And so that's part of the entrepreneurship journey. You have some really good days. So like you can see days and weeks with, a few $1,000s coming in, $5,000, $10,000 coming in. And then the next week you be like, where everybody at? People forgot about me. Nothing's coming in. So, those are the ebb and flows that you have to kind of be willing to deal with when being an entrepreneur. So that's my money talk. Comment below if you have any suggestions, or if you understand what I'm talking about as we go through this journey. Talk to you later.